Happy afternoon, everyone. Rhea Reeves here. In case you guys don't know, I am the founder and finance coach for City Girl Savings, and I am back at you live. And today I'm going to talk about mistakes to avoid when you're trying to save money consistently and effectively and doing it so that you can reach whatever goal you have, even if it is saving just to save. So there is almost a misconception that saving money is simply transferring money to a bank account and not touching it. And while that's the general gist of it, there should be a strategy behind your saving money. And I'm going to talk through a few mistakes to avoid when doing so, and that will help you as you craft your strategy to save more money. So let's dive right in. The first mistake that I recommend anyone avoid when they're trying to save money is saving too much. And I know that probably seems a little confusing because, we should be saving as much money as we can, right? Well, wrong. We should be saving as much money as we can truly afford to save based on our budget. So if you're putting too much money into savings, you may end up taking it out because you didn't account for a specific bill or expense that maybe you forgot about. So you want to make sure that you have a solid budget in place that shows you all of your income for the month, all of your bills, expenses, and spending for the month, and then whatever's left over. That leftover amount is what you can truly afford to save. If you save anything more than that, you could end up touching your savings, which is something we don't want to do. The second mistake to avoid when saving money is saving too little. So kind of the opposite end of the last mistake, saving too little also means that you're not really looking at your budget, or you are giving yourself a little bit too much in areas that maybe you shouldn't. So, you, again, look at your income, expenses, bills, spending, what's left over. Let's just use simple math here. Let's say you have $500 left over each month, and you are torn between saving it, giving yourself a little something for fun, or whatever else. So if you have $500 profit every month and you're only saving $25 a month, that means you're probably not saving enough. So saving too little is also a mistake you want to avoid when you're saving money. So get to the root of why you could be saving too little. Is it because you're overspending? So the numbers show you that you should have $500 left over each month, but for whatever reason you only have $25. Or maybe you fear that you don't have enough in your checking account, or you don't want to take what's in your checking account out because something might come up. Just try to get to the root of why you're not saving as much as you possibly could, and then slowly work to fix it. Okay, next mistake to avoid when saving money is saving with no priorities. So don't get me wrong here. Saving money just to save is better than not saving money at all, right? I would rather you save and not have anything specific that you're saving for. But if you really want to make the most of your savings, you should have a goal, something that you're actually working towards. So, what are you doing in your life? What do you want out of life? What are you working towards? Maybe it's something as simple as just having $1,000 in your savings account. Maybe it's something big like a new house. But when you have a priority behind your saving, you're much more consistent with it, and you're much more likely to reach your goal. So make sure you assign a priority to your savings. No saving just to save, although it's better than not saving at all, but give yourself a reason to save. What are you saving for? And make sure that that goal is clearly laid out so that when you do save on a regular basis, you know exactly what you're working towards. Hi, Lena. Hi, Mo. Thanks for joining in. Okay, next mistake to avoid when saving money, saving for the wrong priorities. So having no priorities is an issue, but also having the wrong priorities is an issue as well. So, you want to put yourself in a good position so that you can spend money on things that, mean something to you. And, if you are, let's say you're saving to buy a new pair of shoes, like you want these designer shoes and like that's your goal, but you don't have an emergency fund or even, a short-term emergency fund like $1,000, you may not have the right priorities in place, because likely what will happen is you will save up for those shoes, you will buy the shoes, you will likely enjoy the shoes, but then what if something comes up and now you don't have any money to help you get through that unexpected expense? So making sure you have the right priorities in place is very important. And if you don't know what those priorities should be, here are a few examples. So saving for emergencies, that is a top financial priority for anyone. So if you don't know what to save for an emergency. Another example could be retirement. If you are not saving for retirement through a 401k or IRA, that needs to be done before you start saving for shoes. And then lastly, maybe saving for a home of your own or your children's education. So if you have those savings goals already laid out, you have money going towards those specific goals, then anything on top of that, prioritize as you see fit. Just make sure you have the right priorities in place when you are saving your money. Okay, last mistake to avoid when saving money, and this is a big one. I've been talking about this a lot in the City Girl Savings community, is saving in the wrong bank account. So, you guys probably know this, but I need to say it. A checking account is not a savings account. So you should not have any form of savings in a checking account because you're more likely to spend it, number one. Number two, you're not earning as much interest as you could be because savings accounts are designed for you not to touch them. Therefore, banks give you a higher interest rate so you can keep your money in there. So that's kind of rule number one. Savings automatically goes in a savings account. But take it a step further with a high yield savings account, typically through an online bank. So as I mentioned, I've been talking about this in the City Girl Savings community. An online bank is someone like Synchrony, Ally, Discover, Barclays, American Express Bank. These are all examples of online banks, and because they are online, they don't have the typical expenses associated with an actual brick and mortar branch. And because of that, they can afford to give you a much higher interest rate on your savings. So I think an account like this is ideal if you have your emergency fund, which you shouldn't be touching unless an emergency came up, or you're saving for something long term. Online bank accounts are great. If you don't need the money anytime soon and you don't plan on touching it, you may as well earn as much interest as possible. Now, I would recommend having like a short-term savings, like with your checking account. So have a checking account at your bank and have a savings account at the same bank, just in case you need the money right away, because with online banks, you do not have instant access to your money, something to keep in mind. And that's because you just have to do a bank-to-bank transfer. So making sure that you're saving in the right account is critical. If you're not going to touch the money unless something major comes up, you may as well earn as much interest as possible by keeping it in an account that will give you as much interest as possible. So those are 5 mistakes to avoid when you're trying to be consistent with your saving money efforts. I hope this live stream was helpful, and I will see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in, and see you later. Bye, everyone.